comment that Gerlach Lan made there a moment ago. We were looking at the clips. He said, "Geez, lads, it's bad enough when you can remember the black and white stuff."
And what's worse, he could appear in one of them. So tell you how old he is. But Michael, getting back to today, even around town last night, like there's an electrifying buzz already. Kilkenny are going for the historic 5 in a row. Whether they're to do that, they're very hot favourites to do it. But I suppose there's trouble pressure building up in that camp to do this famous 5 in a row. And Tip are the one team capable of beating them. They're the second best team in the country. They proved that last year. They're back where they want to be. And like a lot of the public, the hurling public in general, will be kind of saying, looking on Tip, saying, listen, if Kilkenny aren't beaten this year, we're going to be talking next year about 6 in a row. But there's other people in that would feel, well, they deserve to win this 5 in a row. It's going to be a great occasion. And like the big question mark, there's still a big question mark over, say, Henry Sheffield and John Tennyson. They're defying all medical advice or medical experts, and it'll be the way to play. I think when they're chosen, what positions? Well, Tennyson will definitely start centre back. Henry could move around, but will they make the last 70 minutes? And how good will it be? That's a big question mark on the Kilkenny team. Whereas the Tip team, it was very easy picker to just go out and do what you did the last day. Every
All-Ireland final, Tomas, is fascinating, but this one, just as I said in the introduction, they're just that little bit more so.
Yeah, we just saw in the clip there, I suppose, as well, right? I mean, just at the start and the registration of the cars, 06, 07, 08, 09, and then you had the 101 as well from Kilkenny, you know. And I mean, I think outside of Kilkenny and Tipperary, I think the whole general hurling public all over the country are enthralled by this one. I mean, the start of the week on the Monday to Tuesday, you feel the build up to the game, and suddenly when you get into the weekend, it's just an unbelievable occasion. But I think for what we saw last year in the All-Ireland final, I think people are expecting the same again. And I don't think Brian Cody's going to do a Loughnane and name the team and not play the two guys. And
easy on Loughnane.
Easy on Loughnane. No, it's only started. But I think he's going to be true to his word. Right? I mean, he has done this in the past, and we've seen this. If you're not fit enough to start, you don't play. As simple as that, right? So he's put the two lads through their paces over the last couple of days. They seem to come through it. I had expected Henry and Tennyson to start, but I mean, you look at it on the basis, and you might say it is a gamble. But look, nobody knows better than these guys. They're the guys that have been trained. These are the guys that have been putting them through the mill over the last couple of weeks. So it would be fantastic to see them start, because I mean, the injuries coming at the time they've come. It isn't a nice thing to happen.
Kilkenny are some team, Ger, there's no doubt about that, no matter what happens today. But we've seen in the past great teams, the Kerry football team, the pressure of doing the 5.
Well, sure, this is the thing about the 5 in a row, Michael. You know, Seamus Darby has an awful lot to answer for, because the 5 in a row has been achieved within the GA, you know, at different levels, at club level it has been achieved. But I think ever since Kerry failed, you know, that brilliant Kerry team failed to win the 5 in a row, with that in the last minute of their last game in the 5 in a row, I think it has almost a mythical status in the GA, and to achieve that now is going to put Kilkenny on a pedestal that no one has ever been before, and most likely nobody will ever be again, because I don't think we will see an era like this again. But I'd agree with Sel, if they win today, if they win the 5 today, if they take this today, they are a very young team, remember. You know, the JJ Delaney's, the Tommy Welch is only 26, 27 years of age, a whole plethora of young players coming behind them. So if they do win today, we might be looking at a real record that would be completely out beyond the realms of ever being achieved again.
And also we have, as has happened down through the years, young teams coming through for Kilkenny. We're going to see another one today. Their minors are here in the final against Clare. Most people expect Kilkenny to win. Have Clare a chance, Ger?
Well, you see, that's it. We see minor teams every year, and we're always watching out for potential seniors coming along. We saw the Tip minors in 2006 and 2007. We said they were exceptional teams. There is a feeling, Michael, that this is an exception. I think we all feel that this is an exceptional team. Even though I saw Kilkenny in the Leinster final now, and they won it easily, but they didn't look as good as they were against Galway. But that's the thing with Kilkenny. They improve from game to game. And if they have improved from the semi-final, if they have improved from the display they given the semi-final for today, then I think Clare will have very little chance. But Clare are coming here full of confidence. They have some very good players. And the one thing about them, Michael, is they're strong in the areas where Kilkenny are strong. So if they can hold on, you know, if they can, what ruined Galway was they conceded 5 goals. If Clare can hold on in that area, then they have a chance.
OK, now one thing that most of us do on big match day is have a look at the Sunday papers to see what they have to say about it all, and we're no exception here on the Sunday game. We're going to head back now to base in RTE, where Darren Maloney has been doing just that in the company of some others.
Thank you, Michael. Well, we're going to look at the papers very shortly, but we wanted to take a look back at the history of this fixture, and I'm joined by GA historian Paul Rouse and by Damien Lawler, Gaelic Games correspondent of the Sunday Independent. Gentlemen, you're both very welcome. Paul, we're going to begin with a report on the very first meeting of Kilkenny and Tipperary way back 1887.
It seems hard to believe now, Dara, but that match was played on a Thursday afternoon in a field outside Hurlingford in County Kilkenny. The teams had been due to play the previous Sunday in Clonmel, but two local Tipperary teams were playing a challenge match and wouldn't give up the field. At that stage, counties were represented by their club champions, and Thurles were representing Tipperary, Tullaroan representing Kilkenny, and Thurles wiped the floor with Tullaroan, 4-7 to no score. And I suppose Tipperary was already being known in the newspapers as the home of hurling, much to the disappointment of everybody else, but they justified that on that day.
Damien, we're going to go on now to 1909. In this year, we're in the middle of an important time for Kilkenny, emerging as a hurling superpower.
It's probably the genesis of the whole thing, Dara, because they were known as maybe a football force back around that stage. Up to 1911, they were Leinster football champions. And, you know, they had quite a good pedigree in the round ball game. But this was the era of maybe the 15-a-side game. This is the era that Kilkenny adopted the black and amber stripes that became famous over the years. Croke Park was developing from Jones's Road into kind of a Croke Park of force. And Kilkenny, you know, burst on the scene. They won 7 All-Ireland titles in the preceding 10 years around that time. And 4 players on those teams there have 7 medals as well. So, you know, we're talking about a 5 in a row today, but that pedigree was back right in that era as well.
Yeah, now we're going to go on to the 1937 final between Kilkenny and Tip, and we have some amazing Pathé News pictures which were shown all over Ireland, Britain and the United States all of 73 years ago.
Over 44,000 people at the Fitzgerald Stadium watched the Senior All-Ireland Hurling Final. The occasion is rather an historic one. It marks the close of the 50th Championship and the first time the final has been played outside Croke Park for 30 years. The tussle is between Tipperary and Kilkenny, Kilkenny in stripes. Tipperary are fielding the team which defeated Limerick in the Munster final, and possibly for that reason, they show that they're the superior side. Tipperary force the pace from the throw-in, and for a time there's promise of a close struggle. But when the Tipperary forwards find their range, they gradually take the upper hand, and they run up an interval lead of 12 points. Kilkenny take up the offensive from the restart, but the 14 points lead of their rivals makes the game a little one-sided. And with 15 minutes remaining to be played, the crowd start leaving the field. In spite of a last-minute rally by Kilkenny, Tipperary win easily by 3 goals and 11 points to no goals and 3 points. And Tipperary, with 12 All-Ireland titles to their credit, now go into the lead in the list of winning counties.
And Paul, that final played in Killarney, not Croke Park. Why?
Played in Killarney because Croke Park was being rebuilt at the time, and a builder's strike held up the rebuilding, so they moved the game to Killarney. It was a huge shock that Tipperary were there at all, let alone that they should win the final. This was the era dominated by Limerick and by Kilkenny. Kilkenny won 4 All-Irelands in the 30s. Limerick, led by Mick Mackey, were the glamour team, won 2 All-Irelands and won another one in 1940. But that Tipperary team came from nowhere to win that All-Ireland, and again wiped the floor with Kilkenny in a final.
Damien, 1971, a very famous final, a great day for Tipperary followers.
Yeah, they came from nowhere in Paul's era, but they kind of went back to nowhere after this started. The 1971 All-Ireland final. Very, very close game, 5-17 to 5-14. Dinny Ryan from Tipperary got the winning goal that day, and you'll see in the pictures very soon. He hopped up to celebrate, he landed and broke his ankle, so bittersweet moment for him. But a very, very interesting day. Frank Murphy from Cork was refereeing. Babs went barefoot that day, the nail came up through his boot. And Ollie Walsh was in goals for Kilkenny. Wasn't feeling the best, a bit of appendicitis or something like that. But after that, Tipperary, they've only won 3 All-Irelands in the next 30 years. So that was kind of as good as it got back around then.
Barefoot Babs, brilliant. We're going to have a look at some of the headlines now on All-Ireland final day. We are going to start with the Sunday Independent. Immortality beckons for hurling's revolutionaries. This is from the Sunday Times, a very famous picture at this stage. Kilkenny lining up before the national anthem at one of their matches earlier in the summer. The History Boys, the headline, as you can see. And from a special supplement inside the Sunday Tribune, 5 Alive, as they look ahead to the 2010 All-Ireland Hurling Final. Now, Paul, let's have a look at the Sunday Indo. You've been reading Jamesy O'Connor's article and his verdict on the big match today.
A fine piece. Jamesy outlines all the problems that Kilkenny have coming into the game. Henry's injury, John Tennyson not having played a whole pile and coming back in. The great improvement of Tip last year, how close they came last year. Key things that they need to do to win the game, such as Brendan Cummins' puck-out strategy. And at the end of the day, he says, despite all this, Kilkenny are going to win it.
OK, Damien, Sunday Times. John Lahey's column has made interesting reading all through the summer. Headline, Tip fans living in fantasy land.
Yeah, his columns are always worth reading there, and especially today. And he's saying that basically there's an air of confidence around Tipperary fans at the moment, and he can't understand that. And he goes on to maybe to give his reasons why Kilkenny are going to win today. But his columns have been kind of critical of Tipperary all year, and he's basically saying that Brendan Cummins' puck-out strategy is crucial today. Now, he was part of the backroom team of Babs Keating that dropped Brendan Cummins for puck-outs a few years ago. He also mentions that he's amazed that Henry Shefflin is starting, Dara, because John did his own cruise ship a few years ago, was out for 18 months, and he can't see the turnaround whatsoever in Shefflin being ready in a few weeks ago. But it's very, very good reading, and he bows down on the side of Kilkenny at the very, very end of it.
And Damien, to finish, a very enjoyable piece from the Sunday Tribute, Kieran Shannon with Lar Corbett.
Yeah, and it's great to see a player like Larry Corbett being so open on the day of an All-Ireland final. But he says it in the piece, you know, he doesn't really care what's wrote about him. But this piece documents how Dr. Pat O'Neill advised him that his top-flight career was probably most likely over a few years ago. And Dr. Pat said, we can't work miracles here. And Larry said, I don't want a miracle, I just want to play again. And the piece goes on how he worked with Gary Ryan, the international sprinter, Dara, and kind of got his career back in track. And one little line then near the end, he loves the work rate of Aidan Fogarty, the Kilkenny hurler. He reckons he's the most underrated player on that Kilkenny team, and he's tried to base his own game on that. Yeah,
Paul, there's a line in it that you enjoyed about how he deals with criticism.
Well, you look at Larry, I mean, it can't be easy being a Tipperary hurler in an era with the tradition of success that they've had in an era where they're not enjoying much success. And on top of that, to be from Thurles, where, again, there's a lot of pressure on him. And he has come in for criticism, and he comes across a very impressive fella, but he says, I enjoy reading criticism. I get a good laugh out of it.
OK, and not a mention of Seamus Darby in the papers today. Well, very little. There's a picture on the back of the Sunday Indo of his goal in '82, but not as much coverage as we perhaps expected from a while ago. Paul, prediction, call this today for me.
Almost uniform predictions in the paper is Kilkenny. Almost everybody outlines it. I just have a sneaking regard for Tip.
Are you going for your native county, Damien?
I am. You'll find it very hard to get two pundits to go for Tipperary, but you're going to get two on the same couch going for Tipperary today.
Very good. OK, lads. Thanks very much indeed, Damien and Paul. It's been great. Thanks for your company. Two more photographs to finish with this afternoon. This here is the Cork team from 1944, which won 4 All-Ireland hurling titles in a row. It featured legendary figures like Christy Ring and Jack Lynch. But Cork's hopes of an historic 5 in a row were ended in 1945 by this team, who beat them in the Munster semi-final in Thurles. The team that ended the last attempt at a hurling 5 in a row was Tipperary. Michael.
Yeah, Tip preventing a 5 in a row bid all of 65 years ago. Could there be a repeat today? That's the big question, isn't it? OK, that's the view in the Sunday papers. Let's get some further views on today's big match. Marty Morrissey has been out and about around the centre of Dublin to meet some of those heading to the game.
Well, as you can imagine, down here in the city centre in O'Connell Street in Dublin, there is a tremendous buzz as we look forward to this drive for 5 by Kilkenny and the possibility that Tipperary might stop them in their tracks. I'm joined here by 2 former stars, Charlie Carter and Ken Hogan. Charlie, are you nervous about this All-Ireland final?
There's a great buzz about this one. All week in Kilkenny, I don't think I've ever seen as much colour around. And driving up today, I left early this morning and the traffic is unbelievable. But nervous. Anytime you play in Tipperary, you'd have to be a bit nervous.
Are you surprised that Brian Cody has gone for John Tennyson and Henry Shefflin?
Well, to be honest, I am. I thought he would have went to Henry and held back John. Just that centre-back is a very pivotal position, and I mean, if there could be a bit of damage done if he gets past John. You just couldn't go without King Henry, like, you know. We'd see what he means to the team. And they've no point bringing him on, because if he brought him on and got injured and had to go off again, I think it would be a major blow to morale. So he did the right thing, I think.
OK, well, let's go on to Ken Hogan, because, 28 years ago, a chap called Seamus Darby stopped Kerry doing the 5 in a row. Have you got somebody in Tipperary to stop the Cats?
Yeah, well, funny enough, Marty, Seamus Darby came in as probably a 5-minute sub. And I think this game today could be dictated by the substitutes. We talk all the time about the team that you start. Now it seems to be the team that you finish with. So I think Tipperary are a bit stronger in the substitute department than they were last year, and it could be a guy like Seamus Callan or Pat Burton could come in and finish the job for Tip.
You're the Tipperary under-21 manager. A lot of your players are involved here today.
We have 8 players involved. You know, it's a big 6 days for the lads. Obviously, their focus totally is on today, and they're a tremendous group of players. And of course, we'd like to start on a winning note today.
Tip to win?
I have a feeling in my bones, my gut instinct now, and I always go by my gut instincts, Marty, is that Tip will just prevail by a point or two.
What's your feeling in your bones, Charlie Carter?
Well, I don't mind if Tip win the under 21, but we'll hang on to Liam McCarthy for one more year.
Okay, well, we look forward to a great All-Ireland final. Will it be Kilkenny or Tipperary? Don't know what the view here is in O'Connell Street.
All right, Marty Morrissey there. Right now we're going to head to a commercial break. Welcome back again to our coverage of the All-Ireland Hurling Finals of 2010. Cyril, Tomas and Ger are taking a short break for a little while because I would like you to meet two other special guests here in our studio. John Henderson, who represented Kilkenny across 3 decades and played in 5 All-Ireland finals. And Tomas Dunn of Tipperary, who not only captained the Tip team, which beat Galway in the 2001 final, also named Hurler of the Year at that time. Gentlemen, you're both very welcome indeed. Tomas, 2001, a great victory for Tip at the time. It's almost 10 years now since that. I'm sure you thought there'd be 1 or 2 more.
Well, we were certainly hoping there would have been in 2001. We had a great victory, as you say, and came very close in 2002 in an epic semi-final here with Kilkenny. And that was famous for DJ coming back after a long layoff.
That's right,
and proved to be probably the turning point on the day. But it was a terrific game of hurling, and that probably started Kilkenny's period of dominance in the rest of the decade.
Interestingly, when you won in 2001, it had been 10 years previous to that before your other win.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. And so there was a lot of pressure on us in 2001, and the pressure is building in Tip again to make a breakthrough. Came very close, obviously, last year, and so hopefully we can, get over the finishing line first today.
Pressure on Tip to win, but pressure for the 5 in a row, John.
There is big pressure and big talk about it, but I think there isn't that great a pressure on the players themselves, because I think the players don't owe anything to Kilkenny followers. And I was saying to Tommy there earlier, it's the followers that kind of put the pressure on you and the expectation. And you go back to Waterford 2 years ago, the amount of pressure that was on those players because of the length of time. So from a Kilkenny point of view, look, they'll treat it as a game, they'll treat it as another All-Ireland, they're very professional. But yeah, look, if we're all talking about 5 in a row, we'd love to win it. It would be unbelievable. And 10 years on will be next year, Tommy. So you have to wait another year, as far as I'm concerned.
You let them wait. All right, lads, we've asked you to kind of take a close-up look, if you like, at the two teams. And Tomas, we've actually asked you to look at Kilkenny. Now, I think a lot of people agree that Kilkenny will go and try and blitz Tip today, and that means try and get early goals.
Yeah, and that's the piece that I've decided is probably one of the critical pieces. It's just their ability to create chances and score them, early on in big games, Michael. That's the thing. And I think from a Tipperary point of view, these are all early in the game. This is the Cork game. Just so clinical, no messing around. That looks really easy, and they make it look easy. That's very difficult at match speed early in the game. Cork coming in, the underdogs, and Kilkenny really just blowing them out of the water very early. And from a Tip point of view, we're the underdogs today, and this is the type of thing that we need to avoid.
Would you go along with that, John?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Kilkenny's instinct is for goals. If there's a chance of a goal, they take it. And Eddie Brennan, 2 years ago, 3 years ago against Limerick, first ball he got, turned and went straight for goal. Instinctively, where most people, I reckon he had himself backed to score the first goal because, most people would just take the point, settle into the game and move on. But, that is Kilkenny's trademark, and they certainly, have that instinct to take goals. All
right, John, well, of course, we've asked John then to have a look at the Tip side of things. The half-forward line, John, is one thing, and also the role of Lara Corbett.
Yeah, I feel that the improvement in Tipperary has manifested itself in their half-forward performances, and they've had man-of-the-match performances with Gearóid Ryan scoring this great goal here against Galway in the semi-final. And you need goals to win matches, and Noel McGrath, absolutely great performance again in the semi-final against Waterford, scoring 6 points. They're great, they work great. Pádraig Maher, in addition to them, a worker, a ball winner. Here he is. This is what was lacking maybe before last year. And he wins possession, and he distributes it, and he's a battler, and he's a breath of fresh air to Tipperary, I think. And so I mean, the pressure here on the halfback. Pádraig again, and winning the free. So he's a great ball winner. He's Lara, of course, now, and instinct again, just knows where the posts are, pops it over the bar. very relaxed on the ball, and Lara will roll all over the place. Man of the match in last year's performance from a Tipperary point of view, covers acres of ground, and actually I don't know whether we see it in this clip or not, but you'll see him back in the corner back line picking up the ball at the end. But
and Lara, of course, Tomas, a part of that 2001 setup.
Well, that's what people forget, Michael. We've quite a range of experienced players from 2001. Lara Corbett, Owen Kelly, Paul Curran, Brendan Cummins. Like that's a help, and we've a nice blend of youthful players as well.
All right, lads, it's a fascinating prospect. We're not going to ask you for a prediction because we know where that's going, but do enjoy the match. Tomas Dunn. Thanks very much, John. Thanks to you too. Thanks. Now, of course, the hurling has important hurling has started early here this weekend in Dublin because yesterday, of course, we had the Kilmacud Crokes Sevens, always an important part of the weekend, and an all-Galway affair in the final. Portumna defeated Muller by a fairly comfortable margin in the end, 11-9 to 4-8. And this annual festival of hurling concluded then with the Portumna captain, none other than Joe Canning, receiving the trophy. Well done to the Portumna lads, another trophy for them. Now, as I said earlier, these two men here with me know what it's like to be involved in hurling's big day. But next we're going to hear from three men whose involvement in the All-Ireland was even that bit more special. Three captains of three winning teams which will long live in the memory.
I remember even a calmness, like even it was 57 years since we won the All-Ireland, and knowing that, you know, we had the experience on Limerick. Two early breaks, Bernie kicked a goal and PJ got that kind of famous goal as well where he got a few belts and then kept going and stuck it in the net. Like. And we always had the lead, or the bit of the lead, you know, even though it came down to the wire in the last few minutes. As I was up on the shoulders anyway, I could feel the hurl that I was grasping onto being pulled. But as I turned around then, the fellow with the grip in it was Mike Darcy from Mike Cullen, a great friend of mine. And he said, Joe, I'll mind it for you. You know, and in the struggle and banter, I said, that's all right, like, that's safe for a few weeks anyway. And 21 years later, he gave it back to me. You know, so. And I knew I'd say it in Irish if I got the opportunity to say it, like. And I honestly don't think the content of it was anything different to most speeches, like, you know, but the fact that it was said in Irish as Gaelic is definitely the factor that has given it that, I think, and just that identity with the West that went with it.
People of Galway, we love you!
Mary Robinson was the president, and I remember coming down along the red carpet, and Fergie affectionately in the village here would be known as Fergie All-Star Toohey, you know, so I introduced him as such to Mary Robinson, and, you know, he didn't bat an eyelid, like, you know. But I think that was another, we were fairly relaxed, like, we were saying, take it all in now, but when the ball is thrown in, we'll really focus, and that was our motto for the year. It was a dogfight game, like, it seemed as if they were going to win. They got the soft enough goal before half-time, and then we had battled our way back to almost parity, and then Johnny Pilkington got the goal. You know, we would have felt we should have cleared it as well, and it definitely looked facing back out after that goal that we were gone, but we got the lucky break then of, you know, the ball hopping off the crossbar and coming down, and Eamon Taft being on hand, and the lads trying to take him off at the time. The steward in Croke Park, who was charged with getting the captain in out of the mad area, that'll tell you how known we were at the time. He grabbed Ollie Baker and dragged him in, and Ollie was wondering why he was being dragged in, and then had to explain to him, and at this stage it was too late. I was caught out there in the sea of madness somewhere. Like, there was no great pressure on making that speech, because, like, people didn't care. They were seeing a Clare flag going up, getting Liam McCarthy for the first time since 14, and they just didn't mind, like, and there's no pressure on you then, really. Sure, you come out with whatever you come out with.
Well, today that person has been found alive and well, and that person's name is Liam McCarthy.
I can remember lining up like when you were meeting Mary Robinson, and it's funny enough, you were introducing all the players, and Larry O'Gorman said, "A lovely frock you're wearing, Mary." Like, I mean, it broke the whole seriousness of the situation, because it was very serious at that stage. And then we're walking down along the middle of the Cusick stand, and the Limerick team broke. And I was in two minds what to do, so I said, no, I'm going to walk in front of Hill 16 where all the Wexford support was gathered. And I felt that gave us a bit of an edge in the sense that they were standing there on their own, and we were still together as a team, like as a unit, you know. Well, I tell you, I thought the first half would never be over, because Kieran Carey never let me see the ball hardly for about the first 15 minutes. And then Eamon Scallon got sent off. And we got into the dressing room at half-time, and that's when Liam Griffin said, look, lads, this is it. It's your chance at history. Take the chance. And he just said, you have to work like there's 15 out there.
It's all over, and Wexford are the champions.
I had a little speech written down, and I never forget it because Mr. Bootman covered it on me with his hand, and I couldn't see the speech, and I was trying to look at it, and I was going, will you let me see the speech? And he says, no, you should know what you're doing. So you just did it like...
Three exceptional days. It was a privilege, I have to say, to be here at Croke Park to witness them. Now, later on in the programme, we'll be hearing from the rival managers ahead of the big game, as well as from two of those who will actually be playing in today's final. But for the moment, we're going to give you a brief taste of what they'll have to say about today's big match.
I know that there is an added bonus to the 5 in a row, but it's definitely not something that's on our mind going into Sunday, you know. And we're just happy to be there.
We're not going to fear anything. We're going up there, like, you know, there's going to be no pressure on Tipperary, and we're going up there to perform on the day, and we're going to give it 100%, and we're really looking forward to it.
The fact last year was another number, I suppose, you know, and the previous year, just remember the 3 in a row thing, and like that is there, and that's gone on, and all the rest of it. Personally, I don't get hung up on it at all.
We're under no illusions that we're playing the best team in the country, and probably the best team in the history of the game. But you know, I guess that's the challenge, and every sports person loves a challenge, and we're no different, and that's why we're delighted to get the opportunity.
Yeah, and more of all that a little bit later on, as I said in the programme. Now, Cyril Farr, Tomás McCahey and Ger Loughnane back with us here in the studio. Ger, just reflecting on the little piece we saw there a moment ago with the three captains. And of course, 95 for Clare. I mean, it was such a brilliant day for a neutral like myself.
Yeah, you know, the effect it had on people right over all over the country. People who had no interest in the game or very little interest in the game. You know, I could tell different stories of people I met. One fellow from Limerick who was a fanatical rugby follower, didn't even know much about the GA, but knew Clare were in it. Himself and his wife were over in Scotland, but crossing over to Mullen Kintyre. The ferry was leaving, but Mihal's commentary was on.
And the
two of them decided they'd skip the ferry, even though they had no interest, just to see would Clare win the game. You know, so there was that kind of excitement. Of course, 81 years since Clare had won it. So, you know, I suppose that has been missed a small bit in recent years because of the fact it has been dominated so much by Kilkenny and Cork, and you know, they have won the last 11 All-Irelands. Tip with 1, Cork with 3, and Kilkenny with 7. You know, so that's something that's slightly missing out of it. But making up for that today, of course, is the fact that Kilkenny are going for the 5 in a row. So you have as much excitement now today as you ever had in any All-Ireland before.
There is one thing in Tipperary's favour today, Cyril, and it was something the lads have been talking about. To win one, maybe you have to lose one, and that's what happened to you guys in 1980. You lost in 79 to Kilkenny, and I remember Joe Connolly saying the following year they knew what to expect, and that was important.
Yeah, the big thing is for Tipperary after last year, they felt all the hard calls, all the big calls last year went Kilkenny's way. Now the big thing for them was to get back in again there this year, because if they missed out this year and get back in next year, there's a gap in between. If you keep getting in there, the common factor has been in the last number of All-Irelands, the last 4 or 5 now, is Kilkenny. Now if Tip can keep getting in there, they will get their day in the sun. Now it's very, very tough. And I had to laugh there when Joe was talking Irish, because he like to flow to Joe, and
of course,
people often ask me and go, why did you pick Joe Connolly as captain? I was in college with him. He was a great leader, but he could kind of just speak off the cuff. Joe would be Joe could lead the country if you give him the country to lead, because he'd feel he could do it. But like these kind of guys, and just looking at these captains there, like there's something about it. And I'm very disappointed, Mike, in the GA with the minor captaincy. They're preventing the young fella from talking. Someone said there's a bit of pressure. Young fellas are as good at speaking as anyone, and I think it's a big honour to captain your county and to thank all your players, and for the fathers and mothers or uncles or aunts. Like, to me, they're kind of going away from that tradition. I don't like to see it happen. And I hope to reverse that decision.
All right, OK, we're headed for a commercial break here in the programme. We'll be looking ahead to today's All-Ireland minor final between Kilkenny and Clare straight after that.
Tipperary's supporters, we brought it home! Star Clare are the out. And forget the rest.
Welcome back again to Croke Park. I was bumped into a couple of well-known faces.
Indeed I have, Michael. I'm joined by Paul Flynn and Declan Ruth, and of course here in Croke Park, after the beautiful weather over the last couple of weeks, we have a light mist falling on headquarters. Do you like playing in the rain, Paul Flynn?
Well, contrary to what people might have thought, yes, Marty. Like today's the surface, there'll be a little bit of dew on it, bit of water, and the ball will skid off and it won't bounces high. So some backs might come charging out and and anticipate a high bounce, and if you were lucky enough they might miss one and get in behind them. So conditions may have a bear on it.
Skillful players wouldn't mind the wet conditions.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Dave.
Who do you think this is going to affect the most, lads? Do you think it's going to affect Tipperary most?
I don't think it's going to affect both teams as equally, Marty. I suppose the only thing is it's going to we're not going to have the same free-flowing game as last year, possibly. Both teams haven't been accustomed to training or playing in these kind of conditions. So, but again, it's the same for both teams. That's the most important thing. It just might take away from the game a small bit.
Do you think Tipperary are going to come up with some sort of an ingenious plan that's to deprive Kilkenny possession?
I don't think so, Marty. I think basically, Tipperary have enough good players, to go their own way about things. I think if Tipperary can score from out the field, maybe midfield and half forward, and like they did against Waterford, and get a few points from out the field, I think that's one way maybe of, getting near Kilkenny. I don't think they'll go third midfielder or, 4.5 backline, whatever. I just think they need to move the ball quickly, really.
And what do you see as a crucial battle, Declan? Because certainly from my point of view, I'm looking forward to the battle between the full back and the full forwards, respectively.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at Tipperary's full forward line and well, Kilkenny's, you just don't know. I suppose the same with Tipperary's. I think movement is the key for both teams. I think Tipperary demonstrated last day brilliant movement all over the forward line. Even Lara Corbett dropping back into the backs of time. We all know Kilkenny's movement and running in straight lines. It just depends on who gets on to the end of the breaks. And a break of a ball, a lucky break, as I say, is going to dictate this game today, I think.
In a word, Tipperary or the 5 in a row for Kilkenny?
Well, I've been Tip all year, so I'll stick with Tip.
Good man, Declan. You?
Oh, to keep my mother happy at home, I'll go with Kilkenny.
All right, well, it's 50p here down the side, and we look forward to a great All-Ireland final. In the meantime, it's back to you, Michael.
Marty Morrissey, thank you very much for the moment, and this is Kilkenny arriving at the moment down under the Hogan stand here and getting ready for their big day. And Brian Cody, well, will this be the day of history for Brian Cody, for his selectors and of course for his players? So that's Kilkenny, looking forward to the senior final a little bit later. You're welcome back again to Croke Park, and this is the Tipperary team arriving for this afternoon's All-Ireland Senior Final throw-in at 3:30. Well, of course, this is a journey that Tip made last year as well. Unfortunately, by the end of the evening, there were glum faces from Tipperary getting back onto that bus, but will it be different this year? Here are the conditions at the moment now in Croke Park at, 3:15, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit overcast and heavy, and there is rain out there, unfortunately. Well, the clock is ticking, the nerves are starting to jangle in Kilkenny and Tipperary. It's the All-Ireland Hurling Final of 2010.
All set to go then. Look at the sense of expectation. Look at the jostling here and there. Look at the crowd, look at the colour. It hots up as a result.
Two brilliant hurlers, man to man, facing each other.
Fires it in, a second goal for Cork.
It comes to Dan the man.
Dangerously in for Shefflin, corner of the net.
He's going for it, he's got it. There's a chance here, oh what a goal.
Dangerously, what a goal! Donald Barry, and there's a chance. What a goal by Owen Kelly. And Tipperary have won. They have knocked out Galway. Cracking goal by Eddie Brennan. Kilkenny have reached their 11th All-Ireland hurling final.
Horvat! Here's another one. Tipperary against Kilkenny.
Yeah, there can indeed only be one. And one of the men Tipperary will be relying on this afternoon is Lara Corbett. Now, he's a player who has been in fine form this summer and has picked off some very important scores in matches. But it's amazing to think that Lara is very much one of the veterans of this Tipperary panel, having been there for their previous All-Ireland success almost a decade ago.
Well, I suppose I never really thought about playing county under 21 or county senior for Tipperary. Like, my love, like just say, was was playing the game, playing hurling. Now, whatever level that took me to, I was happy at that. I was delighted to be playing for Dorlis Oak, and I was delighted to be playing representing Thurles Sarsfields.
And Lar Corbett with this latest effort, and he's put it over.
It's like anything at all. You get lucky, you break in life, and I was lucky enough in 2001 to get a phone call from Nicky English, like, you know, and that's really where it all started, and it's kind of a roller coaster since then, like, but really building, I suppose it's on confidence where a lot of it is built. I think an awful lot of people are expecting this big final that happened last year. Things mightn't go like that. You have to accept whatever is in front of us on the day, but there's one thing that we know, we are going to be 100% ready for it. You have to admire the way they went about things, that they got the opportunities, they took them on the day. We got a few opportunities, we didn't take them. So we're back now again, like, you know, looking forward to having another crack at it again. I'm going to go with this very same belief as I did last year, like, you know, that we can win. I found it very hard to deal with that defeat. I suppose maybe myself and maybe the panel included, like, we maybe did get a small bit complacent that Cork did come out and catch us on the day. Like, our training is top class, our fitness is top class, the setup is top class, everything is top class. So when you tick all those boxes and everything is done right, you have to say to yourself, you have to give credit to the team that you're playing. So that day Cork came out and the bet is off the field. We had no excuses. They were by far the better team on the day, but the structures we had in place were perfect for us on the day. So you have to give credit where credit is due. I don't think that hurling has worked much on tactics, and like, only from an outsider looking in, I don't think Kilkenny do much on tactics either. I think that's all about intensity and how you apply yourself on the day, and I think that if everyone works hard, you do get your chances. Like, and when you do lose matches, people are going to blame tactics, and when you win, people are going to say, oh, you got it right on the day. But first of all, I think that your work rate has to be up and how you apply yourself on the day, and that's really half the battle. Don't fear them, I don't fear anyone, but I admire class, and they're class set up. In any sport, I think you have to admire class, and I think that's what they have, not only this year and last year, but they have it for the last number of years. But like, we're not going to fear anyone. We're going up there, like, you know, there's going to be no pressure on Tipperary, and we're going up there to perform on the day, and we're going to give it 100%, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's Tipperary forward Lar Corbett, and Lar Tomos will have, like all the Tipperary forwards, a very important role to play today, of course, and be relying on lads like that who have the experience back through the years.
Yeah, I suppose he's the equivalent of the Shefflins of Kilkenny, I think, certainly, because he is their role model up front. He is their leader. He can play in most positions. You'll see him at full forward, you'll see him at corner forward. He'll get the odd stint at centre forward as well, and he has great vision. He's great hurling brain to bring other players into the game as well, but the little flicks and the little hand passes, but he's a great scoring forward as well. And when the need has been the greatest for Tipperary, Lar stood up and be counted, certainly, and he's a great man to get a goal for you as well. And I mean, you can see by his attitude there, I mean, the positiveness in it is if that's there within the dressing room and they can transform that into the field, you know, it's a great start for Tipperary. They need to forget about last year, forget about the referee and the decision in the end. They had that game in their grasp. They had the Liam McCarthy in their grasp 7 or 8 minutes from time, and they left it slip, barring any decision. So they need to just build on that, build on the positive, and come out exactly the same frame of mind that they were in last year.
Yeah, and Lars was there. The one big thing as well is his electrifying pace. He catch the hurl left in the top, he goes to strike, he's going fast, and you're hooking him. But then he goes on another 2 or 3 yards, and you're caught.
As he
you
did.
Can't,
yeah,
you can't through. And as Tomas is there, great to get goals, and he always does the right thing on the ball. Like the last day against Galway, the one man from a goal point of view that I didn't want to see to get the ball was Lar.
Yeah.
And curious enough, he came around. Not great on his left side, he's still at Joe, but he came around and eventually walked back on his right, and he's going to score these scores. And you'd imagine he's around a long time, and he is, but like you'd think he's older than he actually is.
Yeah.
He's so laid back, and he talks there about tactics. Like Liam Sheedy to me this year with Tipperary is kind of let them play hurling, freedom of hurling. Now they're going to be moving around anyway, and today, like as you said, Brian Cody kind of lets them play hurling as well, maybe kind of more structured in a sense. But like he is the leader of the pack at the moment, because the last day, even though Kelly got 2 goals, to me, as we've been talking before, he wasn't really fit the last day, not to his own standards, and it was Lar like that, you know, did the right things. And if he has a good game today, Tip of a great chance, and if he's taken out of the game, it's going to be a big loss to Tip.
Sure.
That's the vital thing there, because if you think last year when Seamus Cannon was going so well, Jackie Tyrrell paid him a visit earlier on. Now you'd also be afraid today that somebody will pay Lara a visit very early on today.
And what do you mean by visit, Peter? Explain that to us.
Just a courtesy call. If he's put out of the game or injured earlier on, he would be a massive lot because the free role that he's playing. You know, he's not playing. He's playing just a totally free role, and he plays with such intelligence. And it's the way he's matured on and off the field over the last 3 years has been really spectacular. And he is just absolutely crucial for Tip today.
Watch your wing mirrors, I think, is what Ger was saying there. Let's head off again to rejoin Joanne Cantwell. She is down pitch side with some more people to talk to.
And we're trying to battle the noise of Marty Morrissey here, myself, John Allen and John McIntyre. And you know, this drive for 5-0 started back in 2006 when John Allen's Corporate denied their own famous 3 in a row by the Cats in the final. And John, could you tell back then in 06 that this Kilkenny side might have the ability to sustain such a top-level performance each year?
Not at all. I mean, you know, we went into the final of 2006 and the knowledge that JJ Delaney was injured, John Tennyson looked like he wouldn't be playing but was playing. I thought the signs were right that we would win that final, you know, but I mean, Kilkenny, you know, just played in an intensity that day that they haven't let down since, you know, but certainly, I mean, you couldn't tell that they were going to be, you know, unequalled, unrivaled in the past 4 years, you know, but history will decide today whether they'll put another one onto it, but certainly back then there was no way of telling that they would be as awesome as they have become, you know.
How does today's team compare with the team that lined out against you? Are they better?
I would say they're better, yeah. I think the strength of their bench really is everything, and when you see, I think it's 4 All-Stars they have on the bench, and Michael Rice not starting, and you know, their players obviously have become household names, and it's, you know, this team, awesome doesn't describe it, but we'll see today whether they'll take the next step.
Well, John McIntyre, what about Tipperary? Because your Galway side obviously played them